Don't trust words, trust actions. People can tell you anything, but what they do tells you everything. Most people believe they decide their future. They don't. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. Silence and a smile are two powerful tools. One helps you avoid problems. The other reveals who you are dealing with. When someone avoids you, don't chase them. Distance is also an answer. Some people speak loudly, but think very little. Others remain quiet, yet carry heavy thoughts inside. Strength is not found in noise, it is found in calm. And the moment you stop explaining yourself, life becomes simpler than you expected. These are not opinions. They are patterns you see only when you pay attention. People talk too much about destiny, about luck, about what was meant to happen. Yet, they still look both ways before crossing the street. Deep down, everyone knows the truth. Life is not decided by chance. It is shaped by habits repeated quietly every day. Smart people think before they speak. Wise people think before they think. There is a difference. Raising your voice never strengthens your point. Improving your argument does. Silence is not emptiness. It is space. And space reveals intention. Speech flows like a river. Silence is an ocean. When you are avoided by someone, don't demand explanations. Distance itself is clarity. Some of the strongest people are invisible. They suffer quietly. They endure without announcements. Fear makes dreams look impossible, not reality. You are at your strongest when you are calm. Chaos does not create power. Control does. Children do not follow advice. They follow behavior. Care is never fake. When it disappears, it usually means understanding has arrived. Loss is not always subtraction. Sometimes it is preparation. Never lie to yourself. That is the one rule that cannot be broken without consequence. A moment of patience can save years of regret. Anger always charges interest. Beauty without character is empty. Truth, even when painful, still heals faster than deception. Trust few. Observe many. Money exposes human nature faster than philosophy ever could. Kindness does not require witnesses. Improvement does not need applause. Fake connections behave like shadows. They stay when the light is strong. They vanish when it fades. Time is the most expensive gift you will ever give. Once offered, it never returns. Small changes quietly reshape entire lives. Overthinking does nothing except drain joy. Strength grows in solitude. Clarity does too. People change, they learn, they move on. Progress has always required struggle. Light cannot be given unless it is first created within. Nothing lasts forever, not even difficulty. Learning never ends. Life never stops teaching. Illusions are more dangerous than ignorance because they convince people they already know. Life echoes what you send into it. What you offer returns. What you see in others already exists inside you. People reveal themselves under pressure, not when things are easy, but when something resists them. Anger is not strength, it is exposure. When someone becomes angry, they stop managing their image. What appears in that moment is closer to the truth than any confession. Calm is power, not because it is quiet, but because it is controlled. A wild mind reacts. A disciplined mind observes. Most people think they are thinking. In reality, they are repeating. Knowledge does not fail people. The illusion of knowledge does. Those who believe they already understand stop listening. And those who stop listening stop growing. Silence makes many uncomfortable. Not because it is empty, but because it leaves no place to hide. Quiet people often carry the loudest thoughts. They don't announce them, they live with them. Love without action is decoration. Trust without proof is imagination. Apologies without change are noise. Honesty costs people relationships. but the relationships it costs were never solid. Distance is not cruelty. Sometimes it is hygiene. Life becomes simpler when explanations end. Clarity replaces defense. Children learn by watching, not by hearing. Effort matters more than talent. Showing up matters more than intention. Freedom does not require movement. It requires thought. Even when the body is limited, the mind remains unrestricted. Hope is stronger than fear, but only when it is supported by effort. Believing in others is easy. Believing in yourself is uncomfortable. Negativity demands company. It weakens when left alone. Right action does not need applause. It needs consistency. Some people speak about intelligence. Others demonstrate it by remaining silent. Loss is misunderstood. The greatest loss is not death. It is what dies inside a person while they are still alive. Truth does not always feel kind, but it is always cleaner than lies. Good relationships are simple. No secrets, no deception, no performance. Behavior is the only apology that matters. Each day resets. Breathing does too. Gratitude does not require perfection, only awareness. Even the sun stands alone, and still it shines. There are patterns that repeat in every life, not because people are the same, but because human nature rarely changes. You don't need psychology to see them. You only need attention. And most of what people want to hide is revealed without effort. Truth people reveal themselves through behavior, not words. Words are easy. They cost nothing. Anyone can say they care. Anyone can promise change. Anyone can speak about values. But behavior never lies. What people do when no one is watching is more honest than what they say in public. Actions carry weight because they require effort. Words only require air. Love without action is decoration. Trust without proof is imagination. And apologies without change are performance. People don't decide their future in moments of inspiration. They decide it in habits repeated quietly. Daily behavior builds outcomes more accurately than motivation ever will. This is why advice rarely works. Children don't follow instructions. They follow examples. Raising your voice doesn't strengthen your argument. Improving your argument does. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. Patience saves more than anger ever will. Anger always collects interest later. Money reveals character faster than philosophy. Power does the same. Observe how someone treats people who cannot benefit them. Observe how they act when they are frustrated. Observe how they respond when they don't get their way. Behavior never needs translation. And once you stop trusting words alone, confusion disappears. Truth, too, silence, and calm expose what noise tries to hide. Most people are uncomfortable with silence, not because silence is empty, but because it removes distractions. Speech flows like a river. Silence is an ocean. Silence doesn't compete, it absorbs. When someone is calm under pressure, they control the situation without force. Strength is not loud. It is stable. A wild person with a calm mind can accomplish what noise never will. Silence avoids problems that words create. A smile resolves conflicts that arguments extend. People speak when they want to control perception. They fall silent when they lose control. This is why anger is revealing. It strips away intention management. Calmness keeps the mask on. Anger lets it fall. Quiet people are often misunderstood, not because they lack thoughts, but because they don't advertise them. The loudest minds are not always the ones you hear. Some of the strongest people remain unnoticed. Distance is not cruelty. Sometimes it is clarity. When someone avoids you, don't chase explanations. Absence is already an answer. Life becomes simpler when you stop explaining yourself. Simplicity is not weakness. It is efficiency. Calm minds don't rush. they observe. And observation always outperforms reaction. Truth. 3. Most suffering comes from illusion, not reality. The greatest enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowing. People who believe they already understand stop learning. They stop listening. They stop questioning. And they repeat the same mistakes with greater confidence. Overthinking feels productive, but it only drains happiness. Fear is the main reason dreams appear impossible. Not ability, not opportunity. Nothing meaningful happens without struggle. Progress has always required resistance. Hope is stronger than fear, but hope without effort is fantasy. Believing in others is easy. Believing in yourself is uncomfortable. Negativity demands agreement. It weakens when left alone. Fake connections behave like shadows. They follow you in light. They disappear in darkness. Time is the most expensive gift you can give. Once given, it never returns. Spending it on conditional relationships creates regret disguised as loyalty. People change. They learn. They move on. Judging someone solely by their past ignores growth. Nothing in this world is permanent. Not success. Not difficulty. Learning never ends because life never stops teaching. Life behaves like an echo. What you send returns. What you see in others exists within you. Gratitude doesn't require perfection, only awareness. The greatest loss is not death. It is what dies inside a person while they are still alive. Truth hurts less than deception in the long run. Painful honesty heals faster than comfortable lies. And when illusion fades, clarity arrives quietly, not as relief, but as understanding. Life becomes clearer when you stop forcing connection. Not everyone who smiles at you means well. Not everyone who stays deserves access. Spend your time on those who value it. Time is the only currency that never returns. People who love you unconditionally don't demand performances. They don't change rules when circumstances shift. Conditional loyalty always expires. Distance from negativity is not arrogance. It is maintenance. Fake friendships collapse under pressure. Real ones survive silence. If someone disappears when you are struggling, their absence explains everything. Strength grows when you learn to enjoy being alone. Solitude teaches what noise cannot. Overthinking feels like control, but it only weakens joy. Small changes matter more than dramatic intentions. Consistency outperforms intensity. Never judge people only by their past. People learn. People change. People move forward. Struggle is not punishment. It is preparation. If there is no resistance, there is no progress. Before you speak, consider how the same words would sound if directed at you. Kindness requires no audience. Right action needs no announcement. Hard work builds belief faster than hope ever will. Illusions feel comfortable, but they quietly steal growth. Knowledge expands when humility stays present. Certainty often blocks learning. Life reflects what you project. What you give returns. What you recognize in others already lives within you. Gratitude does not demand perfection. It only asks for awareness. Belief without effort fades quickly. Effort without belief still moves forward. Children remember presence more than gifts. Time teaches more than money. Simplicity reduces conflict. Silence preserves energy. Do the right thing because it is right, not because it is seen. Everyday resets. Breathing resets too. And sometimes starting again is not weakness. It is experience speaking. Nothing about life is permanent. Not success. Not struggle. Even pain has an expiration date. Learning never stops, because life never stops teaching. People spend years searching for answers, yet overlook what is repeated in front of them. The patterns were always there, in behavior, in silence, in habits done without witnesses. Truth doesn't arrive loudly, it settles quietly. What you send into the world returns. What you notice in others reflects something within you. The greatest loss is not death. It is the slow disappearance of meaning while life continues. Freedom does not require movement. It requires awareness. Some minds remain loud. Others grow calm. Some people explain everything. Others simply live. Even when everything feels limited, thought remains free. And sometimes understanding does not feel like relief. It feels like stillness. The sun stands alone, and yet it continues to shine.